So over the weekend, there was a Halo Infinite technical preview. People got to play online and not just against bots. Of course, they could play against bots if they wanted to, but this was the real stress test to see how these servers could handle the game. My Xbox shut off during one of them, but that's not important right now. What's important is that I'm here today with somebody who's actually good at Halo, Kyle, also known as Vanilla Soup on YouTube. How's it going, Kyle?
Hey, thanks for having me, Joey. I'm doing well. I'm just on Cloud 9 this weekend. Has been so much fun for me, who's been like a lifelong Halo fan, and getting some people that are like getting reinterested in Halo again, playing with them. Oh man, it's just been a really good weekend.
That's good to hear. Yeah, it's been a pretty good weekend for me too. I actually streamed Halo Infinite on the channel.
Yeah, I saw that.
On Friday. I did a pretty good job there. I'm not a seasoned Halo player. I'm like a very, very casual Halo player. I played quite a bit of Halo 3 back in middle high school, but not too much, I would say. I would have played Halo Reach if I could afford it, but I could not, sadly.
It's okay if you missed out the multiplayer on that one.
Really? You know, I did play the multiplayer on Reach recently, and I actually really liked it, but Halo Infinite here seems to be the best of both worlds, or every world, I should say. I want to hear your thoughts on Halo Infinite. First of all, how close is it to, I want to say, if you could compare it to any other Halo game, what would it be? Or a combination of Halo games, rather?
Oh, that's a terrific question. So I feel like Halo Infinite, the best way I've had it been said, is that it feels like the true successor to Halo 3 in regards to multiplayer. That the ideas that we had that were present in 3 got carried over and built upon for Halo Infinite. And that comes by way of like equipment and just the overall layout of maps and art style it's going for. Because let's be honest, once Bungie made Halo Reach, the art style differed quite a bit, and there was lore reasons for that for Bungie. But then also when 343 took over, the studios formed into 343 at the time. Halo 4 and Halo 5 definitely had their own art style, which is still controversial, obviously. But that's just in art style. Play style is also completely different too. And that's where I think it really does come down to, it's that true evolution of Halo 3. There's some ideas that are still present from other Halo games for sure. Like one of my favorite modes, Strongholds. We've talked about that. But Strongholds, like from Halo 5, is still here. So there's a little bit of something for all Halo fans, and it's almost like 343 just took everything that people said that they liked and ran with it, you know? It's amazing to see, like, hey, the community was talking about that like 2 years ago. Thank you for including that in this game, you know? So it's a really cool thing in that regard as well.
Yeah, I can totally see that there. Second question, why is Sprint back at Ruined Halo? I'm just kidding.
Hot take, Sprint belongs in Halo.
Right. Even then, like, the regular movement's still very fast. What I've noticed in my most recent playthrough is like, oh, I probably shouldn't be sprinting as much as I am. Maybe I should take things a little bit slower. Even then, I still suck, but you know.
There's places and there's a time for everything, and that includes sprint, right? So like you said, the sprint speed doesn't increase your speed all that much. It's very minimal, actually. But what it does help you do it's more of a utility in this game. It's not that I'm going faster, but it allows me to do other things. Like one of my favorite things to do is if I'm sprinting, I can jump off of a ledge, and then there's a staircase or a slope down here. I jump off the ledge while I'm sprinting, and then I crouch to slide. And because I'm sprinting, it boosts my speed dramatically. I have clips on my YouTube channel of using that all the time, where just getting a speed advantage or anything like that. So when you're capturing a flag, for example, with today's test preview where they added like Behemoth, there's lots of slopes in that game, or in that map. So sprinting is very helpful, but not crucial, especially when there's also like vehicles at your disposal on a map like that as well.
I see. Yeah. The only thing I don't like about sprint are the sprint lines.
Oh, yeah, and you could turn that off though. Like that's a total selective choice you can make.
I love that. I love the customization options they have here. Like there's so much of them. You can turn the voice.
I personally like living like I'm in an anime. So
do you run like this?
Yes, exactly. Yep, I do.
Oh man, like Naruto. But I don't like them because I think they're bullet lines every time. So it kind of throws me off. But the thing about this test flight is, like, since a lot of the functions aren't like 100% there, like the sprint lines come back like every match, and I have to keep going back into the settings to turn them off. So I'm just like,
oh yeah, that's weird.
Whatever, I'll tolerate them. Whatever. Yeah, it's definitely there for test reasons. Like I've also noticed going into the options, like the transitions between menus isn't smooth at all. Like it cuts back. It like the menu completely disappears for like 5 frames and then it comes back. Very strange little nitpicky stuff. But again, it's a test flight.
Well, and considering like, because the bugs that we found in the flight we did last month, or was that?
It was last month. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, the flight that we had there were way more bugs, and they even said like that build was like a 2-month-old build, and so when they got all the feedback, they're like, awesome, a lot of these things have already been addressed. So in this flight, they like did things that purposefully would highlight some areas that needed some tender love and care from the community, some attention to detail, and that includes more PvP, for example, because in the last fight, like you said earlier, that was just bots, but if you're playing Joey, you still get to play bots, so it's fine.
Ow. Ouch. Thanks for watching this discussion here. Don't subscribe to Vanilla Soup.
Hey, if you want to see a 1v1 of me and Joey on my channel, it's right there for you. So we have a good time.
It was a great time. But this kind of brings me into the next thing is Strongholds, which is a newer Halo mode from Halo 5. I hate it so much, only because I lose every time. My team loses every time, and I feel like it's so easy to bum rush someone in this game. Like, I turn the corner, there's 3 dudes all together, and they all just kill me. Like, I feel like that happens more times than not, and I'm not saying it's a flaw with the game, I'm just saying it's something I've noticed. It's something that I'm sick of happening to me every time. Do I just always need to be next to somebody in this game? Like, what's your tactical advice for Halo Infinite for someone who sucks at the game like I do? Because I think a lot of people are going to jump into Halo Infinite because, for one, it's free, so this might be people's first Halo game in that sense.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good question. So like the devs at 343 actually talk about this in particular with this whole mentality of like the lone wolf versus the pack, right? So their mindset is that they want to give you the tools if you are competent and successful on your own. Or sorry, if you're competent and knowledgeable on your own, you can be successful. But at the same time, Halo Infinite is an arena multiplayer game, team-based shooter. So there's lots of incentives to stay together with the pack. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have a lone wolf go and snatch a flag while your other team members are keeping the enemy team busy. You know, there's the ebb and flow. But my biggest love about Strongholds is the extreme team play that takes place. It's not Slayer. It's not something like Oddball where you're just kind of chilling with something. You're engaged 100% of the time, which, you know, to be fair, a higher level play, you're going to get engaged at all the time anyway. But I feel like Strongholds has that core gameplay mindset for the whole audience that plays Strongholds. Like, for example, there was a game I was playing today on the test preview that I kept trying to go by myself to capture a zone, and we ended up losing that game because I kept trying to go for the harder to achieve zone. And there's always usually like 2 really easy zones to go back and forth between, but then there's one that if a team holds that, it's pretty hard to lose that one. That's kind of how it was in Halo 5, and that's kind of what we're seeing with the new maps, how Strongholds is implemented in Halo Infinite as well.
Yeah, I see. I definitely agree there. Like, maybe it might be best when you're starting out to stick with a group of people when you can, stick with your teammates whenever they decide to go and do things. Like, even just having one other person helps a lot in that sense.
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm not dogging on other games at all when I say this, but like take Call of Duty, for example. A lot of that game is structured in a way where it's very casual in its approach to let you just go in and beat up a couple people for the night and call it a day. Like, you know,
call it a duty. Yeah.
Like, Halo's not really designed like that. And I think because you, like how you said, it is free to play, and a lot of people are going to have their first chance to play a Halo game with Infinite. I think a lot of people are going to jump into that, and they might get frustrated saying like, oh, well, I can't be successful. It's like, well, it is a team-based game. Objectives are at play in almost every single match. So that's very important to take note of.
Yeah. In my case, I've been playing the only online shooter I've been playing recently is Splitgate, which is also very fun free-to-play game.
Yeah.
That kind of has lone wolf style mentality there. I don't know what it is exactly how they sort of make it that way, but I feel like the guns do a lot more damage in Splitgate than they do here in Halo Infinite. Like that assault rifle, that battle rifle. Is it called an assault? I forget what it's called. The
Which
main
one?
gun.
So you start with an assault rifle. In
Assault
this
rifle.
game.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
battle
there's
rifle.
a battle rifle
the scope
too.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the burst shot. Yep.
Yeah. My favorite one though. My favorite gun is the one that's. I forget the name. I think it's called the Commando. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Commando.
Yeah, it's the newer gun, right? And
Yeah.
I love that gun. Every time I get it, I'm just like, yes.
Yep. It's one of my favorites too. It's taking this place in between like a DMR and a SAW. If you're familiar with prior entries in the series, DMR is sort of like a battle rifle, but it kind of, in a lot of scenarios, wasn't. I mean, you definitely had situations where you'd want to go for it, but it was really similar to the battle rifle. So if you were comfortable with battle rifle, for me personally at least, I'll speak for myself, I never really felt inclined to go for a DMR if I had a battle rifle available to me. And the SAW was this ultra power weapon that shoots incredibly fast and has a lot of damage, and it's a spawned in power weapon, so it's like really obviously a game changer if your team has it. Well, they toned that down and kind of fit this nice like fully automatic DMR. That's kind of how I see it. It's like that nice blend between a DMR and a SAW from prior Halo games.
Yeah, it's my
But
favorite.
yeah, I love that game too.
It's so
that,
good.
That gun, yeah.
Do you have any other favorite guns in this game? I like newer ones, or like know, every gun in this game, even if it's old, it's new in some ways. You know?
Yeah. No, yeah, it's true because there's a lot of weapons that got refreshed in a good way, like the assault rifle, like you were saying. The assault rifle has notoriously not been a very good gun and not one that you want to use in multiplayer, but it shreds in a really good way. If you're accurate with it, if you feather the trigger just right, you can really be accurate with it and do some damage. But as far as like new weapons go, the Ravager is one of my personal favorites. It's one of the new weapons that is introduced with the Banished faction, and it shoots these red plasma rounds that you can shoot them individually in a burst, or you can charge for area of effect, and it leaves like this burning fire on the ground to do area of effect damage. And it's really cool because you'll do the alt fire to charge up almost like you would for a plasma pistol, but you shoot it at their feet. Get like for Strongholds, for example, there's 2 or 3 people in the enemy stronghold. Well, you shoot the Ravager alt fire into that pod of 3 or 4 people, and it's doing damage. Then you pull out your sidekick and you start just plucking away at them, and triple kills come easy at that point. It's just great. Like it just takes up the setup, and it's just fantastic. As far as any other weapons though, the shock rifle is one that we got introduced to this technical preview, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of it. It's cool, but it's not like something I've been able to get great use out of personally. And then other than that, the skewer is just an absolutely amazing gun to use. It's like it's this anti-vehicle weapon, but I am using it for days on people, and it feels so good. Oh man, it's so satisfying to skewer an enemy.
Spartans are vehicles, pretty much. They're behemoths.
Right? Exactly.
It's so weird to hear them talk like regular people, though. Like, I will say that. They're kind of just like, they're just casual dudes.
Yep, you didn't really play Halo 5 multiplayer a lot, right?
No, I didn't, so I'm not used to this.
Yeah, so that's where they introduced what they call the Spartan shatter. And that is something that I think they say there is going to be customizable. You don't have to hear it if you don't want to, but
you can turn the voices off.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I don't know if that turns off the announcer though.
Right.
Too, so I'm not sure.
Man, that's sacrilege if you're going to turn off Jeff Steitzer.
Yeah. Well. Also, they got a British guy doing most of the talking too. Like.
So that's your AI though. That's your AI, customizable AI. See, I have. My customizable AI is Fret. He's like this Danny Phantom kind of sounding guy. He's like always panicking, but he's still like confident at the same time. It's like he's like your personal hype beast. He's like, "Come on, Spartan, let's go, Spartan! Oh no, we're getting shot at, Spartan!" It's a whole lot of fun for him. But that British guy, that's Butler. That's one of the AI that you can customize. And so you could choose that. And then there's a couple others that are available. And then when the game fully launches, there's going to be more options. Like we're talking like Spartan Johnson. We're talking maybe like totally not Cortana or whatever. So
we need Snoop Dogg DLC. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, you got just shot up by a bullet right there.
Exactly. But is there anything you think they need to improve on before the game launches on December 8th, 2021 to Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC?
That's a fantastic question. So, if I were to like narrow down just like concisely what I think could be improved on, it's it's actually quite hard because I actually genuinely love almost everything that's presented in this tech preview. It feels like this game was made for me in a lot of ways because I love Halo 5's multiplayer. I love classic Halo, and I feel like this is just such a good balance between the two. And yeah, Halo 5 has its ups and downs and controversy as far as story goes, but its multiplayer is, in my eyes, really fun. Um, so it's that nice version of a game that's almost tailor-made for me. There's some weapons, I guess I would say, that I struggle with as well, like the pulse carbine and the plasma pistol. While the plasma pistol not as much, but the pulse carbine really could use some reworks on, maybe the projectile speed or as far as how well it tracks your enemy. But then there's like little bugs that they already are aware of that, as long as we keep reporting the things we find in our surveys that are going out, if you get a survey, or at least the support page, you could write your findings of any problems that you might have encountered during the flight. As long as they get those, they're going to iron those out. So I can't honestly think of right now any glaring issue with what we have, because this is just a small test preview, right? We have a total of 4 maps now and just a handful of weapons. Some people even got in randomly through RNG, got into a match where there was even newer weapons from like Forerunners and and more banished weapons. That, like, there was the Sentinel beam that looks completely reworked. Fundamentally it looks the same, but it plays by the looks of it a whole lot different. So yeah, what I'm saying though is that there's just a lot here that isn't here. There's a lot that we have yet to see. Like next week the flight continues and we're going to get big team battle, so we're going to see how that plays out. So yeah, that, like, in a roundabout way, that's just me saying I really like what we see here, and the small things that are almost nitpicks, I'm sure they're going to figure out by the time the game launches.
Very cool. You got what to say. Finish this flight.
Cringe.
But thanks so much for joining.
I'm kidding.
Nah, it was fine. It totally was cringe. Thank you so much for joining me, Kyle. Let us know what you're all about. Where can we find you?
Yeah, so I make exclusively Halo content on my YouTube channel, Vanilla Soup. I stream live on Twitch at twitch.tv/VanillaSoupSG. But both on YouTube and Twitch, you're going to find me playing Halo Infinite and covering Halo Infinite. You're going to find me really just overall a positive person, though. Like, I'm not super critical of, other or of development choices or anything like that on the front of not critical feedback, because I'm definitely never going to shy away from, hey, I think this needs to be addressed. But I like to have a good time. I like to hang out with people on stream. I like to just talk Halo. I enjoy Halo so much, and I hope that you guys can come over and check it out, and we'll have a good time over there together.
All right, you heard it here first, or second, or third, I don't know. But yeah, all the links to his stuff is in the description below. But thank you so much for watching this discussion here on GameXplain. Let us know what you thought of the Halo Infinite test flight in the comments below. Are you going to be playing next weekend's flight as well? Let us know, and be sure to check out the videos on the right for more topics that you might be interested in. But until next time, bye.